The Chicago Bulls and the Seattle SuperSonics both had successful seasons in 1995, 1996, leading them to the NBA Finals. In the Eastern Conference playoffs, the Bulls easily advanced through the early rounds, defeating the Miami Heat, New York Knicks. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Bulls faced the Orlando Magic, who were led by Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway. The Bulls swept the Magic in 4 games to secure their spot in the NBA Finals. In the Western Conference playoffs, the SuperSonics advanced through the early rounds by defeating the Sacramento Kings and the Houston Rockets. In the Western Conference Finals, the SuperSonics faced the Utah Jazz. Sonics won the series in 7 games, earning a trip to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1979. The 1996 NBA Finals Game 1 was a highly anticipated matchup between the Chicago Bulls and the Seattle SuperSonics, held on June 5, 1996, at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. The game marked the beginning of a championship series that would ultimately define the dominance of the Chicago Bulls during the 1990s. The Chicago Bulls, led by their legendary coach Phil Jackson and star player Michael Jordan, had already established themselves as a basketball dynasty, having won 3 consecutive NBA championships from 1991 to 1993. Jordan, who had recently come out of retirement, was back in top form and determined to lead his team to another title. On the other hand, the Seattle SuperSonics, coached by George Karl, were making their first NBA Finals appearance since 1979. They were known for their high-pressure defense and a dynamic duo in Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, who had earned the nickname the Glove and the Rain Man, respectively. Michael Jordan, the Bulls' superstar, led the scoring charge. Despite facing tough defense from Gary Payton, he managed to score 28 points in the game, demonstrating his scoring ability. The Bulls benefited from a well-rounded offensive effort. Scottie Pippen, Jordan's partner in crime, contributed 21 points and 9 rebounds. The SuperSonics didn't back down and kept the game competitive throughout. Gary Payton's defensive prowess earned him the nickname the Glove, and he made life difficult for Jordan. Shawn Kemp, the Rain Man, displayed his athleticism and added 32 points and 9 rebounds for Seattle. Chicago's strong defensive effort was a crucial factor in their victory. They managed to limit the SuperSonics' scoring opportunities and held them to 90 points. The Chicago Bulls jumped out to an early lead in the first quarter, showcasing their offensive prowess. They managed to create separation from the SuperSonics in the opening minutes of the game. In the fourth quarter, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen combined for just 6 points, but Kukoc, who has long been regarded as the Bulls' X-factor in the playoffs, finally found his range from three-point range. In the playoffs, the NBA's sixth-man award winner had a 3-for-36 field goal percentage, but he made 2 crucial three-pointers in the first 2:36 of the fourth quarter, the second of which resulted in a 4-point play after Shawn Kemp was fouled to give the Bulls an 89-80 lead with 9:24 remaining. Following Kukoc's binge, the Bulls' defense took control, forcing 6 turnovers while limiting the Sonics to 10 points for the remainder of the game. In Game 1 of the 1996 NBA Finals, Tony Kukoc played a crucial role off the bench for the Chicago Bulls. Known for his versatility and scoring ability, Kukoc was a valuable asset to the team throughout the series, and this game was no exception. Tony Kukoc, a Croatian forward, was often referred to as the Croatian sensation due to his unique skill set. In Game 1, he showcased his ability to impact the game in various ways. Kukoc provided an offensive spark for the Bulls. He scored 18 points in this game, which was the third highest point total for the Bulls, behind only Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Kukoc's scoring ability helped keep the Bull offense clicking. One of Kukoc's notable attributes was his versatility. He could play multiple positions and was comfortable handling the ball, passing, and shooting from long range. His versatility allowed the Bulls to create mismatches and exploit defensive weaknesses. Kukoc's passing skills were on display as well. He dished out several assists, contributing to the ball movement that was a hallmark of the Bulls' offense during their championship years. His ability to create opportunities for his teammates made him a valuable playmaker off the bench. While Kukoc wasn't primarily known for his defense, he played his part on that end of the floor as well. He made important defensive plays and contributed to the overall team effort to limit the SuperSonics' scoring. With 1:27 remaining, Frank Brickowski was penalized for a flagrant foul for elbowing Dennis Rodman. After contesting the call, Brickowski received 2 technical fouls and was removed from the game. The Bulls, who had a 44-43 advantage before the incident, were able to parlay it into a 5-point possession. Chicago's strong defensive effort was a crucial factor in their victory. They managed to limit the SuperSonics scoring opportunities and held them to 90 points, well below their regular season average. The game concluded with the Chicago Bulls defeating the Seattle SuperSonics by a score of 107-90. The NBA Finals of 1996 featured an exciting clash between two formidable teams, the Chicago Bulls and the Seattle SuperSonics. Game 2 of this series took place on June 7, 1996, and it was a pivotal matchup in determining the course of the championship. The game was played at the United Center in Chicago, which was buzzing with anticipation as fans eagerly awaited another thrilling contest. Game 2 began with both teams playing with intense energy and competitiveness. The Bulls had home court advantage, and they used it to their advantage, establishing an early lead. Michael Jordan, as always, was the focal point of the Bulls' offense, dazzling the crowd with his scoring ability and playmaking skills. The SuperSonics, however, were not to be underestimated. They were known for their tenacious defense, and in Game 2 they brought their A-game. Gary Payton was tasked with guarding Jordan, and their individual battle was a highlight of the game. Payton's relentless defense frustrated Jordan at times, but Major still managed to find ways to score and make plays for his teammates. As the game progressed, the SuperSonics clawed their way back into contention. Shawn Kemp and Detlef Schrempf led the charge, showcasing their scoring ability and athleticism. The Sonics bench also provided valuable contributions, helping to close the gap and make it a highly competitive matchup. In the closing minutes of the game, with the score tight and tension in the air, it was the Bulls who held their nerve. They executed their plays to perfection, and Jordan, with his clutch gene on full display, hit some crucial shots down the stretch. The United Center erupted in celebration as the Bulls secured a hard-fought victory with a final score of 92-88. Dennis Rodman served as a safety net, grabbing a record, tying 11 offensive rebounds to help the struggling Bulls offense defeat the Seattle SuperSonics 92-88. Fittingly, Rodman also scored the point that sealed the victory. With the Bulls up 91-88 and less than 10 seconds to play, Rodman rebounded a missed free throw by teammate Scottie Pippen, won a jump ball against the Sonics' Sam Perkins, and then hit one of two free throws with 3.7 seconds left to end a relentless Seattle comeback.
6 on the 24, and Kerr fires for 3. Rodman with the offensive rebound, and that ties an NBA Finals record.
With his 20 total rebounds, Rodman tied an NBA Finals record set by Elvin Hayes for the Washington Bullets against Seattle on May 27, 1979, with his 11 offensive rebounds. Rodman scored 8 points and grabbed 10 rebounds, including 7 on the offensive glass during the Bulls' 11-point third-quarter comeback from a 1-point halftime deficit. Dennis Rodman was renowned for his exceptional rebounding skills and his ability to disrupt opponents with his tenacious defense. In this particular game, Rodman's contributions were instrumental in securing the victory for the Chicago Bulls. Rodman's primary responsibility in Game 2 was to dominate the boards, and he did just that. He relentlessly pursued every missed shot, diving for loose balls and using his exceptional instincts to position himself for rebounds. His relentless work on the glass was a major factor in the Bulls' ability to control the tempo of the game and limit the SuperSonics' second-chance opportunities. Pippen scored 21 points, while Michael Jordan led the Bulls with 29 points. Another evenly distributed Bulls onslaught was led by Ron Harper, 12 points, and Rodman, 10 points, 20 rebounds. The Sonics had 5 players score in double figures, with Kemp and Hersey Hawkins, 16 points. Leading the way, Seattle, meanwhile, struggled from outside in the fourth quarter, missing all 5 of its three-point attempts. Kemp was a primary scoring option for the SuperSonics, and he delivered in Game 2. He used his agility and athleticism to drive to the basket, finishing with thunderous dunks and acrobatic layups. His scoring ability provided Seattle with a consistent offensive threat throughout the game. Payton's primary responsibility in Game 2 was to guard Michael Jordan, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. Payton's defensive prowess was on full display as he doggedly shadowed Jordan, making it challenging for Mange to find open looks and penetrate the defense. Payton's quick hands and footwork were instrumental in disrupting Chicago's offensive sets. Payton, true to his reputation as a trash talker, didn't shy away from exchanging words with Jordan. He believed that his defensive skills could disrupt Jordan's game, and he let Meji know it. This verbal sparring added an extra layer of intensity to their matchup. Game 2 of the 1996 NBA Finals was a classic example of playoff basketball at its finest. It showcased the intensity, skill, and determination of both teams, and it was a testament to why this era of the NBA is often referred to as the golden age of basketball. The United Center erupted in celebration as the Bulls secured a hard-fought victory with a final score of 92-80. The Chicago Bulls will keep their champagne on ice after a dominating 186 victory in Game 3 handed the Bulls a 3-0 lead in the 1996 NBA Finals, while the Seattle SuperSonics' uphill road just got a whole lot steeper. After falling behind 3-0, no club had ever won an NBA championship. The Bulls, now a record 14, won in the playoffs this year, continued their overall dominance on the road in the finals, which began with 3 straight victories in their first championship season in 1991 against the Lakers. Chicago is now 9, 1 on the road in the finals, 6-4 at home, and has not lost a finals game on the road since Game 4 against the Portland Trail Blazers back in 1992. With Tony Kukoc starting in the place of Ron Harper, who played only 1 minute due to an injured knee, the Bulls scored the first 7 points of the game and led by as many as 22 points in the first quarter. Luke Longley playing his best game of the series. Longley scored a career playoff, high 19 points for the Bulls. Again, Dennis Rodman played a solid defense. His totaled 10 rebounds and 5 points. Seattle played poorly in the first half, committing 12 turnovers to Chicago's 3, and the Sonics shot 0 for 8 from outside the arc in the first 24 minutes. Chicago Bulls lead by 24 points at the half. The Bulls, perhaps comforted by their sizable lead, had some turnover issues of their own, while the Sonics returned after the break determined not to lose easily. Seattle's relentless defense forced the Bulls entirely out of their rhythm as they outscored them 14-4 to open the second half. In the third quarter, Seattle outscored Chicago 23-13, trimming the Bulls' lead to 12 points and making the score 75-61 at the time. However, the Bulls got back on track in the fourth quarter. Jordan scored 5 points in quick succession in the first few minutes, and by the 10-minute mark, the margin had increased to 20 points once more. With 2 seconds left on the shot clock, Pippen, who finished with 12 points and 9 assists, made a crucial three-pointer to put the Bulls up 87-65 and end the game for the Sonics. During the NBA Finals in 1996, in Game 2 specifically, Gary Payton, the star point guard of the Seattle SuperSonics, famously engaged in some intense trash, talking with Michael Jordan, who was leading the Chicago Bulls. Payton's relentless verbal jabs were intended to disrupt Jordan's focus and potentially affect his performance. Payton's trash talking tactics were well known. He was known for his tenacious defense and his ability to get under his opponent's skin. Payton believed that if he could rattle Jordan, it might give the SuperSonics an advantage in the series. However, in Game 3, which was played in Seattle, Michael Jordan came back with a vengeance. Payton's trash talking in the previous game might have lit a fire under Jordan. His competitive spirit was legendary, and he thrived on challenges. In that pivotal Game 3, Jordan put on a spectacular performance, scoring 36 points and leading the Bulls to a decisive 186 victory over the SuperSonics. His play was a testament to his mental toughness and ability to rise above distractions even in the face of intense trash talking. It was 108-86 in favor of the Chicago Bulls, giving them a commanding 3-0 series lead. The Windy City was buzzing with excitement as they inched closer to another championship. The Chicago Bulls were leading the series 3-0 against the Seattle SuperSonics when Game 4 took place. The Bulls, with Michael Jordan as their leader, were on the cusp of winning their 4th NBA championship in 6 years, while the SuperSonics were fighting to avoid a series sweep. The SuperSonics were determined to defend their home court and salvage some pride in the series. The atmosphere was electric as Seattle fans hoped for a comeback, while Chicago supporters were eager to witness history. The Seattle SuperSonics stunned the Bulls in Game 4 by winning 107-86, despite being down 0-3 and being written off by all but their most ardent supporters. This was the form that saw them win 64 games throughout the regular season and go to the NBA Finals. Seattle has a long way to go before winning the championship. In the history of the NBA Finals, no team has ever recovered from a 3-0 deficit to claim the championship. 9 clubs have taken a 3-0 lead in the championship series since the league's inception in 1946. 47. The Philadelphia Warriors led the Chicago Stags 3-0 and went on to win the championship in 5 games in 1946, 1947. The Minneapolis Lakers defeated the Washington Capitals in 6 games in 1940, 1949 while leading 3-0. The Rochester Royals were ahead 3-0 against the New York Knicks in 1950-51, but they had to play a 7th game to win the title. However, the Sonics started off on the right foot. For Game 4, a different Sonic squad participated. Gary Payton scored 8 points in the opening quarter, easily his finest performance of the series, and added 6 each from Shawn Kemp and Hersey Hawkins as Seattle jumped out to an early lead. The Sonics led Chicago for the first time since the 3rd period of Game 2, as Seattle finished the period with a 25-21 advantage. The Bulls appeared to be lacking their customary focus in the 2nd quarter, committing an unexpected 11 turnovers to Seattle's 5. Seattle's success continued at this point. A 2nd quarter run put the Sonics up 53-32 at the half, as Seattle outscored Chicago 28-11. First half scoring for the Sonics was led by Payton, who finished with 13 points and 6 assists, and Detlef Schrempf, who scored 9. Luke Longley led the Bulls with 10 points, 4 for 5 in the first half, and Michael Jordan finished 3rd with 7 points, 3 for 9. But the seasoned Bulls weren't quite prepared to give up. Chicago went on in 11. 2 surged to start the second half, but the Sonics were able to withstand all of their efforts. Seattle continued the onslaught of the second quarter behind 11 points by Shawn Kemp, and the Sonics were able to maintain their 21-point lead for a score of 84-63 through 3 quarters and coasted to the 21-point win. Jordan led the Bulls with 23 points despite shooting just 6 for 19 on the night, while Payton led the Sonics with 21 points and 11 assists. Shawn Kemp put a fantastic exclamation point on the Sonics' resounding victory at Key Arena with a breathtaking second half backward move in which he soared high over a dazed Dennis Rodman, deserved at least a 9.9 for artistic interpretation. Shawn Kemp's game. High 25 points came via dunks over Dennis Rodman. Kemp, who brushes off the showmanship, was equally passionate when discussing a victory that ensured Seattle's continued participation in the NBA Finals for at least 2 more days. Kemp stated that he was not worried by the criticism the Sonics received after their humiliating Game 3 loss. Kemp, who has served as his team's rock throughout these playoffs, may have been overshadowed last night by Nate McMillan's comeback, and in part Gary Payton's ascent to the point guard position as a result. As usual, it was Kemp leading the Sonics with 25 points and 11 rebounds. Because of early foul problems, he did all that in 33 minutes. Seattle SuperSonics won 107-86, but Bulls still lead in Series 3-1. Chicago Bulls came into the game leading the Series 3-1 and were just 1 win away from securing their 4th NBA championship in 6 years. However, the SuperSonics, led by stars like Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, were determined to fight back and extend the series. The Bulls will have to work for their 4th championship in as many years. The Sonics won't just hand it to them. The game started with both teams playing tenacious defense, resulting in a low-scoring first quarter. The SuperSonics, known for their aggressive style of play and 3-point shooting, aimed to disrupt the Bulls' offense. As the game progressed, it became evident that the SuperSonics had found their rhythm. Gary Payton's exceptional defensive skills, combined with Shawn Kemp's scoring prowess, helped Seattle build a lead. The action picked up in the second quarter with 5 lead changes and 3 ties, before the Sonics went on an 8-2 run to take the lead with 3:12 left in the half, leading by 5 points, 39-34. The Bulls made just one of their first 10 3-point attempts in the first half, and Chicago's turnover problems persisted with 4 more. However, the Bulls were able to close the distance and trailed by just 1 point at halftime, 43-42, thanks to 11 points in the second quarter from Jordan and 7 from Scottie Pippen. Kemp kept up his strong play, leading the Sonics with 14 points, 5 for 8, followed by Hawkins and Gary Payton with 11 and 9. Jordan led the Bulls with 17 points at the half, 8 for 13, scoring 6 of Chicago's final 8 points. The third was much of the same. The Key Arena audience was roaring in support of the Sonics, and they refused to submit to Jordan and the Bulls. Seattle had a lead of up to 7 points in the third quarter, but Chicago fought back, temporarily taking the lead with a score of 53-52 at 5:42 and trailed by just 2 points, 62-60, 62-60 at the end of the period. The Bulls were defeated by the Sonics in the fourth quarter after a disgruntled Chicago team had a difficult shooting night. Before making a three-pointer in the final seconds of the game, Scottie Pippen, 14 points, 5 for 20. The Bulls had missed 20 straight long-range attempts and had finished with an 11.5 three-point shooting percentage, 3 for 26. Seattle capitalized on every mistake made by the Bulls and was able to seize control of the game when it looked like it would go either way, despite the fact that Michael Jordan, who led the Bulls with 26 points on 11, 42 shooting, only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter. The Bulls managed to cut the Sonics' advantage to 84-78 with just under 2 minutes left in the game, but the Sonics were able to hang on to their lead and secure the victory. Seattle led by as many as 13 with 3:14 left in the game. Final score 89-78 for Sonics, but Chicago Bulls still lead series 3-2. Hersey Hawkins, 21 points, his best total of the playoffs, were vital in the SuperSonics' 89-78 victory over the Chicago Bulls, but his defense was even more crucial. In addition to helping Gary Payton with Michael Jordan, Hawkins also supported Scottie Pippen, a forward with the Bulls who, until he moved to Seattle a week ago, was one of the game's top all-around players. Pippen has struggled in the Emerald City, making just 3 of 20 three-point shots and 14 of his 51 total attempts. It was more amazing than the NBA Finals comeback when his final three-point attempt actually went in. Due to the Bulls' weaknesses in the backcourt, Pippen is also constrained by having to guard Hawkins on the other end of the court due to knee tendinitis. Ron Harper only participated for 1 minute last night. In the fourth quarter, Hawkins added 3 more crucial baskets. A three-pointer early on that gave the Sonics a 67-60 lead, a fast break layup off a pass from Payton that made it 82-69, and a tip-in as he slithered inside to make it 84-71. Game 6 was a pivotal and historic matchup that took place on June 16, 1996, between the Chicago Bulls and the Seattle SuperSonics. This game held significant importance as it could determine the fate of the NBA championship that year. The Bulls, led by the legendary Michael Jordan, aimed to clinch their 4th NBA title, while the SuperSonics were desperate to stave off elimination and force a Game 7. The game was held at the United Center in Chicago, where a raucous crowd of Bulls fans gathered to witness history in the making. The Bulls entered the game with a 3-2 series lead, and their fans were hoping to witness their team's return to championship glory after a brief hiatus. Although it took a little longer than anticipated, the Chicago Bulls were able to upset the Seattle SuperSonics 87-75 in Game 6 to claim the 1996 NBA championship thanks to the backing of the home crowd in Chicago's own United Center. In 6 years, Chicago has won 4 NBA championships. Michael Jordan, who led the Bulls with 22 points to go with 9 rebounds and 7 assists, won Finals MVP honors for the 4th time. "This really means a lot to me, especially after what happened to my father and this coming on Father's Day," said Jordan, whose father died in 1993. "I'm sorry I was out for 18 months, but I'm happy I'm back and was able to bring the championship back to Chicago." Chicago's performance in Game 6 was significantly improved over their performance in Game 3 at Seattle. As Chicago made 9 of 25 long-range goals, the Bulls' outside shots started to fall once more. Rodman also had a strong game on the boards, pulling down 19 rebounds, including 11 on the offensive glass to tie his earlier finals record. Ron Harper, who had missed the game due to a knee injury, recovered to play 38 minutes for the Bulls and gave their defense the boost it had been lacking. The return of Ron Harper to the starting lineup and their return to the familiar surroundings of the United Center, where Chicago lost only 3 games all season, gave the Bulls an emotional boost, but the Sonics weathered a Bulls' first assault. Before falling behind by 6, 24-18 at the conclusion of the first 12 minutes, Seattle and Chicago played tight throughout the first quarter. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan each had 7 points and 6 rebounds for the Bulls, while Shawn Kemp and Gary Payton both scored 6 points for the Sonic. With 4:01 left in the second quarter, the Bulls' lead had increased to 12 points, 41-29, but the Sonics didn't give up, going on an 8-0 run to narrow the deficit to 45-38 at the break, thanks to 8 points from Kemp and 7 points from Kemp and 7 points from Dettel Schriem. Jordan added another 7 points, bringing his total to 14 at the break, but he only made 3 for 11 shots. Jordan compensated for his poor shooting, however, by grabbing rebounds and dishing the ball to his open teammates, as he always does when it's required. Although Chicago continued to lead, Seattle remained in the game and refused to be frightened by a Bulls squad that appeared to be much improved from the 2 previous Seattle victories. The passionate captain of Seattle, Nate McMillan, played 8 minutes in the first half but had a back injury again in the second and was unable to contribute on the floor. McMillan was forced to watch from the Sonics bench in the third quarter as Seattle fell down by as much as 17. The Bulls appeared to take control of the game, and the title seemed to be almost within reach as he was sobbing in pain and fury. However, the Sonics once more came through, and the Bulls appeared to fatigue, going on a 9-0 run to reduce the Bulls' lead. Through 3 quarters, the score was Bulls 67, Sonics 57, Sonics 58. However, the Bulls' depth and experience ultimately proved to be too much for the Sonics, who lost Kemp with 4:38 left in the contest after he picked up his 6th foul. Schrempf led the Sonics in scoring with 23 points, followed by Kemp 18 points, 14 rebounds. Payton 19 points, 7 assists. After the Chicago Bulls secured their victory in Game 6 of the 1996 NBA Finals and clinched the championship, the celebration that followed was nothing short of spectacular. The city of Chicago erupted in joy, and the Bulls players and fans alike reveled in the momentous occasion. Immediately after the final buzzer sounded, the Bulls players and coaching staff embraced on the court. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, among others, shared emotional moments of triumph, hugging and raising their arms in victory. In the locker room, champagne bottles were uncorked, and the team indulged in the classic championship tradition of spraying champagne in jubilation. Players, coaches, and staff members joined in festivities, drenching each other in bubbly. Michael Jordan came back to the Chicago Bulls last season after an absence of a season and a half with a goal in mind. Jordan was determined to add another NBA championship to the 3 he had already won with his club while leading them from 1991 to 1993 in order to reclaim his position as the game's all-time great player. Jordan fulfilled his dream on Sunday night by leading the squad with 22 points as the Bulls defeated the Sonics 87-75 to win the 1996 NBA title. Jordan was voted finals thanks to his 27.3 scoring average over the course of the 6-game series, becoming him the first player to ever receive that title 4 times. He had previously won it in 1991, 1992, and 1992, and 1993. In the first 2 games, which the Bulls won in Chicago, Jordan scored 28 and 29 points. In the third game, which the Bulls easily won in Seattle, Jordan scored a series-shy 36 points, including 15 consecutive in the second quarter. However, Jordan was restricted to just 23 points in Game 4 and 26 points in Game 5 by the Sonics, who went on to win both games at home. Jordan subsequently replied in Game 6 with a strong overall performance. Despite scoring a career-low 22 points in the finals, he added 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals to help the Bulls build a 7-point lead at halftime and stave off a late Sonics comeback to win the championship. Jordan became just the second player in history to win the MVP award for the regular season, the All-Star Game, and the NBA Finals all in the same season, joining Willis Reed, 1970, who averaged 5.3 rebounds and 4.2 assists per game throughout the series. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. What's your favorite memory from the 1996 NBA Finals? Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe for more captivating basketball stories from the past. Until next time,